Hello everyone, my name is Rochelle Innocent and I'm the founder and CEO of Project Purpose. Welcome to our channel. Our community is focused on fostering the intellectual and character development in children. We do this through our parent-child workshops that are focused on 4 themes: autonomy, self-efficacy, compassion, and self-concept, in order to cultivate grit, perseverance, and resilience in each child. And we are so thrilled to be offering one of the first of its kind digital, virtual, and continuous learning environments, enabling parents and children to connect from all around the world. At Project Purpose, our overarching mandate is to renew and rebuild a family, community, and relationships. Our different social media platforms provide us with an opportunity to have discussions and to create space on all topics that relate to family, community, and relationships with ourselves as well as with others, with a primary focus on mental health and education. More precisely, the ways that the institutions of mental health and education play a role and have played a role in our societies at large. These discussions and debates provide us with an opportunity to think critically about what needs to change within these structures for us to live up to our bold slogan, support, protect, and empower each child through youth-focused development, better known as leadership in juvenescence. We recognize that in valuing our children's leadership potential, this also translates as recreating and co-creating environments, both socially and politically, that will enable our children to thrive. For those of you who are particularly keen on the topic, we also write thought pieces every other Sunday. We have a thought piece that we just dropped this past Sunday, so be sure to meander over to the website and check out our online content. Now, if it is the case that you're looking for a listening alternative, well, we're available on 12 different podcast platforms for your listening leisure, and we provided you with access to the links in the description down below. Now, as is the convention, be sure to subscribe, hit that post notification bell so that you are aware of every time we post. And of course, if you like these conversations and you want to keep them going, like, comment, and share this segment. Let's get into it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another segment here on Project Purpose. For those of you who are new, we cover topics that relate to mental health, mental wellness, and education on a week-by-week basis. And today the topic of discussion is mental wellness. And on the conversation of wellness, I'm going to be talking about how we go from fear-based to fearless. And I think that this is a great conversation because I was raised with a lot of fear-mongering, and I learned to break through that. And I think it's harder for some than it is for others, depending on our natural disposition, but my disposition was very fearless. I came out of the womb fearless, mischievous, and ready to conquer the world. And I think that because my parents were young and they were still figuring out the whole parenting thing, a lot of how they were able to thwart me was through fear. They engaged in a lot of fear mongering so that I would stop doing some of the things that I felt inclined to do as I pursued the things that interested me. And I think that this is really interesting because it became a dance, right? And so I would dance with fear and I would figure out and build out contingency plans, case scenario plans, because fear still wasn't enough to stop me to do the things that I was curious about, the things that interested me, the things that compelled me forward into a specific direction. I would build out these contingency plans and I would build out all these different case scenarios that would give me a way out or an exit strategy if any of the different fear scenarios that my parents would come up with that were meant to dissuade me. So I became someone who was like very, very big on contingency planning just because of the amount of fear that I was trying to circumvent to be able to still pursue the things that made me curious. And so I think that the real fears that we engage in or that we are dancing with when we do find ourselves at a crossroad where we're trying to appeal to the masses or do our own thing, I think that it's really important that you own your journey, you own your path, regardless of what anyone says. And I have always been much too defiant, and defiant in like a quiet way, in that I'm much more interested in doing the things that interest me than in appealing to anyone else's desire as to what I do with my energy. And I've always been that way. I've always been someone where, you know, what you want, what your expectations might be, they're well and good, but if they're completely misaligned with my own desires with my own wants, then my own desires, my wants will win every time. And this is just a natural disposition. But a lot of people still, like, you know, their wants and desires are competing with the wants and desires of other people. And I think that that's one issue that can create fear, where you don't want to disappoint people, or you don't want to hurt people by pursuing the things that really interest you. And I think that that's something you're gonna have to learn, that certain things in life, if they're important enough, if they're big enough, if they're taking enough mental, emotional, spiritual, physical energy, where you're really, like, everything about you is orienting in that direction, but you have people pulling you back, it's those people that need to go. You need to let those individuals go. I think sometimes we are not as mindful about our friendships as we should be. But if your friendship is holding you back, if it's causing you to drag your feet where you would rather be sprinting, then that friendship needs to go. You need to do the things that compel you forward. Do the things that ignite your curiosity, regardless of what people say. And the next thing is ridicule and laughter. And I have dealt with my fair share of ridicule and laughter, and honestly, I laugh it off, because the people who, rather than, you know, show respect and admiration, or show at least a certain level of regard for those who are pursuing the things that interest them, or things that they're passionate about, or their hobbies, are the kind of people who live in their own fear-mongered state, right? Like, if you're not just going to acknowledge, hey, they're doing something that I maybe wouldn't do, or they're doing something where the odds might not be in their favor, but hey, at least they're trying. Like, if those aren't the natural responses that you have, if your response is ridicule, or to humiliate, or like to bring it up in conversation because it's the only way you get attention, you're not my kind of human being, and I don't care about ridicule. And I think the sooner we get over the fact that there are people who are going to laugh at our dreams, laugh at the things we're passionate about, laugh at the things that we put our energy into. Some of them are laughing at it because it's truly not their cup of tea. Most of them are laughing at it because they don't have the courage or the bravery to do it themselves. Recognize that regardless of why they're laughing, they're just not your people, right? And a lot of the people who laugh behind your back are quick to smile and acknowledge and, you know, give you the accolades that your efforts and your energy and your achievements have granted, like, once things pan out the way that maybe no one expected. I think that it's important to recognize that those who laugh at you don't deserve to come with you anywhere, any place, anyhow. And like, for me, I've talked a little bit about how my own personal journey, I had gone on the run, I was stopped for a while, and a lot of what I was getting through the grapevine was that people were so busy laughing and ridiculing what they thought was happening based on the rumors that were going around and the gossip that was going around, that it was isolating me, that no one recognized that I was in a really dangerous situation. And I've learned from that experience that those who ridicule anyone's dreams around me are the people that I'm immediately eliminating out of my circle. But that's all the energy that they're gonna get. I'm not gonna feel ashamed because they're laughing. I'm not gonna feel disgraced. I'm not gonna feel like I shouldn't do this because these people are laughing at me. All the more I'm going to do what it is that ignites me, and I'm gonna let them go. I'm gonna leave them behind, and when things do pan out in a way that is unexpected, I mean, at least I did the thing that made me happy. And I remember when I was graduating from my MBA program, I wanted to move to France, and everyone had an opinion about it. Everyone had a point of view when it had nothing to do with any single one of them. And I was being discouraged from all sides from going to France, and I just didn't care. And for me, if you weren't with me, then you're against me. And it means that, you know, you're just not going to hear a whole heck of a lot from me as I pursue the thing that ignites me. But I'm never going to decide to put my dreams on a shelf, or put the things that I really feel compelled to do, you know, on the back burner because I want to avoid ridicule. I mean, don't live your life that way. Don't live your life for the people who laugh at you in public but admire the fact that you have the courage and the bravery to pursue the things that are off the beaten path, or the people who feel like they're laughing at you because it's not something that they themselves could or ever would do, or they're not in a position to do it. Regardless of the scenario, these are not your people, and it's okay that people laugh. And I think that's the last point that I want to make, is that if people are against you, or they're for you, or they're, you know, whatever position that they're taking, it should have no impact or no weigh in on the choices that, you know, bring you into alignment. So I think that this is really crucial, because I think sometimes we think, well, depending on that person's status in my life, it's going to dictate the path that I take. And I think no, absolutely not. If you are feeling so compelled to go in a given direction, then it's how the people position themselves for or against that direction that should dictate whether or not those people should be in that important role in your life. Or maybe it's a signal that that chapter in your life is ending. I mean, food for thought, because we always seem to think that the people around us are permanent, but they're not. I think if you're really bent on enjoying life for what life is, which is an adventure, which is an opportunity to experience so many different experiences that are outside of the box, outside of the convention, outside of the tradition, then you have to learn that some paths are going to bring you away from the people that are within your comfort zone, who are in their comfort zone and are happy to stay there and not leave. So when it comes to fear, do it even if it scares you. When it comes to fear about being laughed at, do it even if they're laughing. And remember, like, people's opinions of you are none of your business. If you're doing it and people are hurt by it, or they're angry, they feel betrayed by it, let them know that this is your journey. You're not trying to offend anyone. You're not trying to ruffle any feathers. You're just trying to live your very best life, and do so unapologetically. I think it's very important that we remember, when it comes to our lives, our one lives, we live it for ourselves. And obviously, I'm very much an individualist. And while I believe in family, I believe in community, not at the expense of my own personal journey. And I think family and community are meant to evolve and transform as I evolve and transform. It's not something that I'm rooted to or connected to permanently by blood. It's by spiritual connection, it's by emotional connection, and it's about respect and regard for the direction that I'm taking or that I'm not taking. And if you can respect those directions, great, we can grow and evolve together. But if you have a problem with it, well, that's a signal to me that maybe this chapter is the chapter where you and I part ways. Maybe we might see each other again in the future, who knows, but I'm not gonna break a sweat about it. If it's me choosing between people and purpose, purpose will always win out of those two options. So hopefully I've given you some encouragement, I've given you some food for thought, or a different perspective that will give you the courage that you need, the bravery that you need to pursue the things that ignite you, even if it scares you. And the more that it scares you, the more you should do it. And one thing I can tell you about my confidence level is my confidence is built on a track record. I am confident about my ability to do the things that scare me because I have done the things that have scared me in the past, and I have only won as a result of it. Battle wounds, of course, but definitely out on top. Now, that was it for today, but definitely not all. Now, before letting you go, I would be remiss if I didn't let you know that we will be going live at least twice a month, every month for the foreseeable future on our Facebook page. So definitely be sure to tune in. Now, these events are paid events, so if you do see yourself participating in our community on an ongoing basis, then make sure you check out our package plans. Yes, we do offer package plans over and above our live events, as well as access to webinars and workshops largely focused on self-mastery over and above these events. So check it out. Be part of our game changer community, being part of the change that you want to see, allowing us a small role to play in your journey. We are on the road to 1K, so we invite you to follow us across all of our social media platforms, and we look forward to chatting with all of you very soon. We'll talk to you later.